Medhi Hasan was on with Piers Morgan, who's another guy who bows down to Donald Trump because Donald Trump named him the apprentice one year on a Celebrity Apprentice. I think he won it one year. So now all of a sudden he's in love with this lifelong grifter con man. And I've said this before. I said it every week since I read it. Please get the book Lucky Loser. I'm just telling you, if you want to get a deep dive into who Donald Trump really was as a businessman, the worst businessman you will ever hear about in your entire life or read about if you read it, just please get a copy of that book and read it. You will be stunned. I already knew he was a terrible businessman. I knew it. I was shocked even more so how, horrifically bad he was as a businessman, borrowing money from daddy all the time. That's how he had money, because daddy was always helping him out and bailing him out of things. But it's way more than that. Please get that book. I implore you to get it. But anyway, Medhi Hasan was on with Piers Morgan. And see, this is the kind of battle I want to see people on the left do with these people on the right. When they start throwing things out there and then they want to move on to a different topic, and Medhi's like, whoa. No, now all of a sudden you want to deflect and you don't want to stick with the topic. You'll see in this exchange, it was an interesting exchange. And this is the kind of shit that I want to see the left do more. I want to see them battle more and say, stop letting, when somebody says something, let them just kind of drift on to something else without actually answering the original question you were talking about. But this is pretty good.
Do you support Donald Trump suing a pollster because he doesn't like a poll result?
I think Donald
This
Trump...
is insane, Piers. I
Donald
thought you were a
Trump
free
can
speech
sue
champion,
who he
but now
likes.
you're rolling over for Trump as well.
Donald Trump can sue who he likes.
Do you support it, is my question. Do you support a president of the United States suing media organizations he doesn't like?
Do you
support that, do you? Free speech champion Piers Morgan.
Do you believe he has a right to?
So you're rolling over like Mark Zuckerberg?
This is, by the way, it's a tactic I like. It is going after their manhood, because these dudes think they are the manly ones. I assure you, these guys are not manly. First of all, anybody that just agrees with every single word Donald Trump says, you are not manly. You are not a tough guy. You are not the tough guy in the room here. Medhi's the tough guy because he's not going to let you get away with it, and he's going to call out your manhood too because of it.
Do you believe he has a right to sue people?
For Donald Trump.
Does he have a right to sue people?
Of course he has a right to, but is he right to?
Okay, then we're agreed.
Is he right to?
Then we're agreed.
Dodging.
Then we're agreed.
No, it doesn't. No, we're not agreed. Do you support his lawsuit? Yes or no?
See, he's not letting him go. He's just going to, and first of all, he's deflecting by saying, does he not have a right? Of course he has a right, but that's Piers Morgan because he doesn't know what else to say. He doesn't know how to defend himself. So he's trying to find some words to get out of this, and he's going to try to get out of it, and he's not going to let him.
Doesn't matter.
Wrong. It's a very simple question.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, you're too scared to answer. Got it.
No, Donald Trump sues people all the time.
Do you think he's right to sue the pollster? And do you agree with it? You have strong views, Piers, but you're not telling me tonight.
Let's get to your strong. Let's get to
you're like Mark Zuckerberg.
Let's get to your strong views, Medhi.
Oh yeah, let's change the subject.
No,
I
think you've forgotten whose show it is.
Question. Do you support Donald Trump's lawsuit?
It's not your show.
Do you support Donald Trump's lawsuit?
It's not your show. I'm asking you the questions.
All right. Well, everyone can see that you don't want to answer the question.
They can. They can see that I want to ask you questions, not have you pepper me with questions.
Yeah, of course, because when you're forced to answer your bullshit, your lies, or your defense of somebody all the time, but when somebody else does something, you're going to attack it. But when you call out Donald Trump or something, you're not going to answer the question. Bullshit. That's what Medhi Hasan says. Nope, you're going to answer this fucking question. And if you're not going to answer a question, you're going to be exposed to your entire audience, because I pointed this out last time. That's what these guys on the right do. They all get together and they have conversations with each other, and they go on their ecosystem and they talk out to the people who want to listen to them, and they talk to each other. They will never, ever have somebody on their show that will counter what they have to say. You'll see it every once in a while, but for the most part, you think Jesse Waters has the ability and the capabilities to argue with somebody about political points? Jesse Waters is a moron. Jesse Waters is an idiot. He said it himself, in fact. He says that he wouldn't even go on other shows because he'd be exposed. He said something to that effect. You could look that up. He did. But Tucker Carlson got destroyed by Jon Stewart when they were doing Crossfire with Paul Begala back when he was on CNN. And a lot of people don't know that, by the way. Did you know Tucker Carlson used to be on CNN? He did. And Jon Stewart went on his show and absolutely destroyed them so badly that they wound up canceling Crossfire because basically of that appearance. And if you've never seen Jon Stewart on Crossfire with Tucker Carlson and Paul Begala, turn this show off now and go watch it. It is genius. It is brilliant. Jon Stewart was awesome on that show. And it was also, this was years and years ago. This was, again, the sort of battle that I want to see out of people from the left, where they know they are smarter than you because they know you're lying. They know you're full of shit. And at some point, you know you're not going to be able to defend your shit. So what do? You deflect to something else, just like Piers Morgan was trying to do. But when you're smarter and you're more prepared, that's the way you defeat this. You have to get in front of this. You have to be in front of these people at all times and make sure you deflect the nonsense and the bullshit that's being spewed about you constantly. Because literally people voted on the fact that they thought Kamala Harris cared more about transgender people getting surgeries in prison than she cared about the price of eggs. They thought that she was the border czar and that she was put in charge of stopping illegal immigrants from coming into the country, and she wasn't able to do her job. None of that is true, by the way. She was never the border czar. That Joe Biden has an open borders policy. There's no such thing as an open borders policy. Find it for me if you can find me the policy. The open borders policy. Find it anywhere. I don't even give a shit what website it comes from. Just find me the open borders policy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that everybody went around and said exists. It doesn't exist. I can just tell you, you're wasting your time looking for it. But find it for me. Send it to me. You can email me at runshousepodcast@gmail.com. Find me the open border policy that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have. Doesn't exist. In fact, border crossings are down. Border crossings are down now as much as they were when Trump was in office. And in fact, in some parts of Trump's administration, they're lower. So open border policy never existed. It doesn't exist now. It doesn't exist then. But the problem is not enough people were on these shows deflecting this and debating this with people. First of all, it's not a debate. A debate is, let's say right now, the Steelers and Ravens are playing. Before the game, if you were a Ravens fan and I was a Steelers fan, and we had a debate on who was going to win, we could debate that based on, the Steelers defense and how well they played and how good Lamar Jackson is. If you were debating for the Ravens, that's an actual debate. But if you're debating that that the Ravens get to play with 18 people against the Steelers 7 people in this game tonight, and you're debating this as fact, and you have people out there spewing that and saying that that's true, that's no longer a debate. That's just you lying completely because you know your audience and you know who's going to buy into it and believe it. And that's all you care about. You care about them believing that whether the Ravens win or the Ravens lose, the reason why they were able to win that game was because they were able to have 18 players on the field while the Steelers were only allowed to have 7 players on the field. That's not a debate anymore. That's just you playing to an audience so you could score points and later on get people to agree with you. But in this sense, in the political sense, now get people to vote